Today, we are diving into the transformative power of data and how businesses can shift their mindset to unlock new revenue streams. We'll also tackle the challenges of tech debt and explore how to prepare for an AI driven future. Its mindset from primarily being customer facing to fundamentally understanding itself as a data company.
So, I genuinely believe that any company today that has customers of any kind, B2C, B2B, you are truly a data company, whether or not you like it or not. Why? Because you have access to customers. Each row, each customer is essentially a data point. Every time they interact with you as a data point.
Now, let's discuss the debate that's been going on since ages. Should a company bootstrap itself or take external funding, especially in the initial years?
In the current climate and what we're going through, I think you do whatever you can to not take funding. Because if you think about it, the past few years leading up to even 2022, 2023, we had so much excess capital in the market. It was so easy to raise funding. Everyone thought, okay, let's just go the VC route.
Hi, this is Kripa Anand, and welcome to the CanadianSME Small Business Podcast, where we explore the strategies and insights that empower entrepreneurs to thrive in the modern business landscape. Today, we are diving into the transformative power of data and how businesses can shift their mindset to unlock new revenue streams. We'll also tackle the challenges of tech debt and explore how to prepare for an AI driven future. Now, recent trends highlight the increasing importance of data as a core asset for businesses of literally all sizes. This discussion today will provide valuable insights into how to leverage customer data effectively and strategically position your company for growth in this age of artificial intelligence. Joining us today is Janice Liu, CEO and founder of Mantis, a company that helps businesses bring together customers' data and business to productize their data for revenue growth. So, without further ado, let's begin. Firstly, Janice, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. Now, Janice, in today's competitive business environment, companies are increasingly recognizing the power of data as a core asset, right? Why don't we begin by understanding what does it truly mean for a company to, shift its mindset from primarily being customer facing to fundamentally understanding itself as a data company?
That's a great question. So, I genuinely believe that any company today that has customers of any kind, B2C, B2B, you are truly a data company, whether or not you like it or not.
Right.
Why? Because you have access to customers. Each row, each customer is essentially a data point. Every time they interact with you as a data point. So it's almost like you're collecting it as a byproduct. I have this analogy that a colleague of mine uses, which is you're making chairs, that's your core business, but you have all the sawdust that you get as a byproduct.
Right.
That's the data. So it's just sitting there, but you don't do much with it. And if you actually start to think about it, it can generate revenue for you.
So for all the, other entrepreneurs who are listening to this right now, what do you suggest? Where should they start this mindset shift from? What would be the initial steps you'd recommend?
I would say think about the way that you engage with your customers and think about how you collect information. I think when it comes to data, it's about the way that you communicate with your customers online, in store, in real life, whatnot. But it's the ability to collect that information from them in exchange, obviously, for some sort of value, right? If you're selling goods, you're shipping and you're sending things to them. So that exchange is I need to know where you live and whatnot. If perhaps you're giving them free content, what is that exchange? And then once you collect it, you must get consent because Canada is so privacy sensitive, as are actually most Western countries. But you have to understand that getting your customer to opt in and allowing them to opt out is super important. Once you have those things in place, the first thing is just start understanding your customer better. Because don't treat it like I have to collect this secretly. Treat it as if it's a way for you to better understand your customer.
And transparency is obviously the key, right? data and tech debt, can be significant obstacles for businesses, especially for people who have never, tried it before. In your experience, Janice, what do you think are some of the early key indicators of these issues, and what strategies can companies employ to effectively address and, overcome them? Early signs.
So whenever you start a business, everything we do today obviously is very digital.
Right.
So I'll give you an example. Someone maybe has some sort of an audience. They've created an event and people are coming to their event and you have tickets, or
Right.
you're filming it and you're putting it on YouTube. What you don't realize is whenever you are, let's say, selling tickets and you're getting information about customers when they're buying their tickets, are you making sure that data that you collect is moved over into your space, your environment? And then when you put your videos, let's say, on YouTube later,
Right.
that's actually tech debt, because you're using YouTube and you're giving your
Mhm.
information to YouTube. So my recommendation is, if you're going to house it on YouTube, I know it's extra work, but house it also on your own website. If you're going to collect information from selling tickets, make sure you move that data into your own database as well. It's not saying you don't use it. It's just making sure that you're doing that extra step, because
Right.
the ability to essentially extract the information out is essentially the debt. Are you bringing it over? Are you keeping it there? It's really easy to use, right? Same with Instagram, same with all the platforms.
Right.
But the problem is, the moment you put something on there, you're leaking.
Hmm.
So it's okay to leak, because that's a way for you to reach your customer. Just make sure you can try to bring the information back into your environment. It's kind of like just storing stuff into your storage locker.
Right. Very well articulated, and I love that, analogy as well. Hello there, marketeers. Are you leveraging the full potential of your customer data? Remember, viewing your company as a data company can unlock new revenue streams and drive smarter decisions. Now let's get back to our conversation with Janice and explore how to prepare for the AI future. Now, Janice, you also emphasize that the future of AI is data, not just the models, right? Please go ahead and elaborate on this statement, and go ahead and provide actionable steps that businesses should take, especially now, to prepare for the data infrastructure and strategies for this future. What should they do to prepare themselves?
Yeah, so let's break this down. AI is what we engage with, and everyone has a different
Right.
meaning of it. But AI is really made up of, I would say, three main things. One is compute power, the ability to process things quickly.
Right.
The second is the models. So the models are the vehicle, which is essentially ChatGPT,
Right.
DeepSeek. They're all
Right.
essentially models. And then the third is data. The models are essentially the car, the vehicle,
Right.
but the data is the oil.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't think of the two worlds, you could build a car, but it's not going to move, because
Right.
garbage in, garbage out. And so when you think about what data you have and how you collect it, you just want to make sure, like I said earlier, make sure you bring everything into your environment. Whenever you're using tools that are really easy for acquisition, for marketing,
Right.
for platform reach, for example, you just need to remember that you're giving something away. What are you giving away? Well, when you're, let's say, using retargeting or targeting on Facebook, you're actually giving Facebook your customer data to be able to use Facebook as a platform.
Right.
That's fine, because you're going to use it to drive customer acquisition back,
Hmm.
but just make sure you're collecting that information and you're bringing it into your environment, because that is your oil. You don't want to just leak oil and not get it back.
That's a very, practical and very interesting perspective to look at it. All right, it's time for a short break, but don't go anywhere. Stay tuned.
Hey, you think you know UPS? Yeah, that's us. Everybody knows that. You know what you didn't know? This. Okay, try to keep up. Ocean, us. Ground, rail, air, so us. Guess who? Us. Customs cleared, borders cleared, done. Us. You still with me? Wait for it. Boom. Us. Intelligent, automated, fulfillment. Us. Yep. Healthcare too. Digital your thing? Yeah. Well, book it, ship it, track it. You feeling me yet? Yep, that's all us. That's all UPS.
Welcome back, listeners. Now, without further ado, let's get back to our conversation with Janice and dive deep into the key considerations for early stage businesses, especially when deciding whether to bootstrap or raise capital. Now, let's discuss the debate that's been going on since ages. Should a company bootstrap itself or take external funding, especially in the initial years? Now, the path of a founder, chooses like what a founder chooses, it can literally shape not only the company's growth trajectory, but also its long term strategy. What do you think is the current sentiment in today's economic climate around the decision for early stage companies to bootstrap their growth versus seeking external funding through different methods or raising capital, for example?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think in the current climate and what we're going through, I think you do whatever you can to not take funding. Yeah, because if you think about it, the past few years leading up to even 2022, 2023, we had so much excess capital in the market. It was so easy to raise funding. Everyone thought, okay, let's just go the VC route. But then suddenly overnight, the narrative changes. It goes from, hey, I want to grow at all costs to now I want to see sustainability and profitability. If you were a founder that were spending on the mechanism of growing at all costs and overnight you have to switch, it's a lot of work and it's really, really stressful. I actually think now what's happening is we're going through like a normalization of what we define as truly effective, sustainable businesses. Because up until very recently, we didn't care if you had a lot of liability and debt, right? You can just grow and let that margin fall. It didn't matter as long as I see top line. But now we're starting to see that kind of rectify, and it's going to change, I think, even
But why
further.
do you think this shift has happened in the first place?
I mean, it's a combination of markets, right? We went from true lots of capital in the market to and low interest rates to now a higher interest rate, more deflation. And then I think you culminate that with the onset of AI now, which is anyone who doesn't have any coding experience or before you needed a technical founder, you don't need that as much anymore. So things are changing very quickly. But I don't think, you know how we've been talking this year about how much uncertainty there's been? We've always had uncertainty. Like the fact that you think we didn't have uncertainty, I don't know what you were on, right? We've always been living in uncertainty.
It's just being getting highlighted more now. Yeah.
Correct. And I think the other part is, especially in the startup world, we think and we only hear stories about companies that raise capital and hit certain milestones. But if you actually go back to stories of companies you saw hit milestones 5 years ago, most of them are bankrupt. Most of them are out of business now, right? Do you want to go quick and burn in the sun, or do you want to have a sustainable business? And I don't mean slow. Like sometimes I think it's just taking time to make sure you have true product market fit. And sometimes it's making sure that what you're building and the problem you're solving is matching the timing. Right? Because think about it. Even a few years ago, everyone was making fun of anyone who was even in AI. In 2016, 2017, they're like, you're in AI? That's not real. That's not cool. That's not it. And now it's like, if you're not in AI, what's going to happen, right? So I'm just saying the trends are shifting so quickly. So, and then to be honest, like none of it really matters. I think entrepreneurship and running a business goes back to what is the underlying driver for what you're trying to achieve and what is the life experience you want. I think if you're going after pure money or fame or and those aspects, like it's not gonna enable you to get there.
Wow. Thank you so much, firstly, for educating me and all the listeners on that. On that note, let's talk about and delve deeper into your entrepreneurial journey, right? Now, you mentioned that Mantis is your sixth entrepreneurial venture. Can you share a brief story or, key learning from your entrepreneurial journey that highlights the grit and resilience required to build so many successful companies?
So they have not all been successful. Let's just be honest.
But the fact that you did start, that was, a successful thing in itself.
Yeah, I think like that's actually the learning. It's not about getting to a milestone. It's actually about, is the problem something that you obsess over?
Right.
Is the problem something you're interested in? is the experience of choosing what you do, having flexibility and freedom, part of what you're looking for. It's not for everyone, right? Like everyone, there's a lot of people who have, issues with, I don't have security, or I wouldn't even say it's scarcity. It's just like this fear.
Right.
And that's fine.
Right.
But I think like we have to acknowledge what that is. And I think what we're seeing now is that there's more tools and capabilities now that are at our fingertips. So we should be seeing a huge surgence of new entrepreneurs coming into the market, especially younger generations, because they don't have the inhibitions we had or the generations above us had, right? And now I think with the government that's telling and pushing us all to build, like we should have done this probably 20 years ago, but it's okay. Like now we got to move.
Right. So did you always wanted to become an entrepreneur? Is that something that even as a child you always thought of doing?
So I never actually knew even the term or the label. I just always wanted to have fun doing what I'm doing.
Right.
But it was never really about, let's say, the money or the problem. Like my first venture, you're going to allow, well, one of them, not even the venture, it was an experiment. I think I was 5. I think I was
5 years old.
5 years old.
Okay.
I was living in a condo with my family in Burnaby in Vancouver.
Right.
And there was these beautiful flowers in the garden outside. I just went and picked flowers.
Right.
And I went around to each door and I knocked. And I go, would you like to buy a little bouquet for $1?
Oh, wow.
And I came home with $20. And my mom was like, what have you been doing? Obviously, no parent would do this now. But they're like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. I just thought they were pretty. Like, no one's going to say no to a cute 5-year-old, right? But the experience wasn't about, I'm going to do this every day. I'm going to turn $20 into $2,000. It was just like, let's see what happens.
So you always had that risk-taking thing inside of you, that fire inside of you.
It's not even a fire. It's just like curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah, like curiosity to try new things, curiosity to be open-minded, curiosity to learn. And I think like if that's part of your DNA, you'll never actually get bored.
Exactly.
Right?
Before these ventures that you started, did you take the experience in the corporate world or do a job?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So I tried the corporate world path simultaneously with some side hustles for, I would say, over a decade.
Right.
And I learned obviously a lot from the corporate world. I learned how the corporate world functions.
Right.
I was operating a business at a North American level. Like I knew essentially how to engage with C-suite and boards and whatnot. But I think the biggest thing it taught me was these organizations are very complex, and humans, we make up these rules, right? But it's really not about always pushing concepts and pushing through. It's more so about, to be honest, like relationships. Like Canada is a very relationship-based market.
Right.
I think most markets are, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's about like, how do you understand and connect with people? How do you truly hear each other and bring value to each other through questions?
Beautiful. Janice, if I were to give you a time machine right now and say you were to travel 10 years or 15 years into the future, how exactly do you envision the future of Mantis?
Oh, I thought you were going to ask how I envision the world. I will tell you, I think the future is we're going to live in the Jetsons.
Okay.
Like the Jetsons is coming to life. You know what I mean? Like flying aircrafts, appliances, AGI, things that where you can put food into something, it just makes it for you.
Right.
I think that's what's going to happen in the future. Where I see Mantis is, I actually was talking to someone about this the other day. Like we're starting to now see a lot of public sector validation. So around a future where there is a need for supply of open data for companies and businesses and innovators to build on top of.
Right.
And I just see ourselves playing a role in that journey, not necessarily leading it, but definitely participating in it. So, yeah.
And how do you envision the world after 10, 15 years in that same time machine?
Besides the Jetsons, I don't know. I hope like a more cooperative world, a more collaborative one.
Right.
To be honest, like unlike people who are obviously watching the news a lot and hearing how crazy everything is, I do think, and I still have hope, that we will get to a more ethical and more moralistic place where things are more open.
The future definitely looks very promising, and you painted a very beautiful picture for all of us. Now, Janice, before we let you go, if there's any one key takeaway that you'd like our listeners to remember specifically about tech debt, what would it be and why?
That's a really good question. I mean, especially with AI today, just ask yourself and be curious. Ask yourself, can I build this without buying it?
Wow, that's a very important and intriguing question.
Yeah, I think like the future of tech is going to completely change. We are no longer in the world of SaaS only, like enterprise, big technologies that come through that you've built vertically integrated. I think the future of technology is you and I can prompt something and it will be created.
That almost sounds like magic, right?
Almost.
Almost. Now, Janice, before the final goodbye, we'd love to know more about Sybil AI and how it's helping marketing and business insights come together as one.
So Sybil.ai, SYBYL, because it's the Latin spelling, is a technology product we built, but we built just the models. So it's a product for usually a marketer or like a CMO to be able to deploy these models in their environment, so their cloud, no matter which cloud,
Right.
bring a bunch of data in, be able to talk to it using natural language, and so it can answer questions back. How much money did I spend last month in Mississauga, and what did I get in return? It's also going to be able to allow them to be able to talk to it and ask, next month in Toronto, I have $1 million. Where should I spend the money to get this yield?
So it'll help it plan as well.
Yeah, just because we think like marketing is very, very fragmented, and most of my team come from that world. And this is a way for us to be able to help the marketers and the CMOs of across many industries to say, oh, okay, I can just deploy this, and now I have a command center to predict the future and look at the past. Versus today, most of these tools are actually like tech debt. They're sitting in different platforms. They sit in Google, they sit in Amazon. They don't actually sit in a marketer's environment.
So for all the marketers and CMO, definitely check Sybil.ai out. And what's the best way to do that?
Just go to the website, sybyl.ai.
Amazing. All right, Janice, thank you so much for being on this
Thank
podcast and
you.
sharing your expertise. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much.
All right, that was an insightful conversation with Janice Liu, CEO and founder of Mantis, on the transformative power of data, addressing tech debt, and preparing for the AI future. Mantis helps businesses productize their data for revenue growth, and their latest product, Sybil.ai, brings marketing and business insights together. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, and we really appreciate your continued support. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more expert insights and resources that can help your business thrive. Also, don't forget to visit our website, CanadianSME.ca. And a very special thank you to our podcast partners, RBC, UPS, A1 Global College, and Google for their ongoing commitment to empowering small businesses in Canada. Until next time, keep innovating and striving for success, and we'll see you in the next episode. Kripa Anand signing off.